And now, for the week of November 21st, Photoshop TV is on the air.
Welcome to Photoshop TV from the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. And here's your host, the Photoshop Guy.
Welcome to another exciting episode of Photoshop TV, produced by the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. This week's Thanksgiving Day episode is brought to you by iStockPhoto.com, the fastest growing royalty-free collection in the world. Also, Wacom, makers of the new Intuos 6x11 widescreen graphics tablet, and our new sponsor, Digital Lifestyle Outfitters. That was Digital Lifestyle Outfitters, makers of the Home Dock for iPod and the iPod Nano. Well, joining me this week, as always, rocking the house key, is Matt Klaskowski.
You know that rhyme just never goes bad.
I know, it's just bad. You can say it again and again. I'm Scott Kelby. Welcome to our Thanksgiving Day edition. Now,
where's Dave Cross?
Where is Dave Cross? Dave Cross is at the airport. What he does is he's the guy that puts those little carts back in that thing. You know. Anyway, actually, Dave is on the road this week. He probably is in the airport, actually. He's teaching Photoshop this week. We're coming to you live from the headquarters of the National Association of Photoshop Professionals. We're in the graphics department today, and this is Thanksgiving Day week, and we thought, you know, it's Thanksgiving Day week, you probably want to spend time with your family, and
we do.
We want to spend time with our family, so this is the shorter, abridged version of Photoshop TV, but next week we'll be back with the full 30-minute version. So let's get right to it. Matt brought some tips for us today.
I did.
So Matt, hook us up.
Okay. My first tip here is if you're shooting camera raw and you've got raw files open in Bridge, there's a really quick way to open those files directly right inside to Photoshop without bypassing the whole camera raw dialog. So let's take a look. Okay, so as I mentioned, got some raw files open here in Bridge. What I want to do is open these in Photoshop. I want to bypass the camera raw dialog box. So the cool little tip here to do that, just hold down the Shift key, double click on the photo in Bridge, and what it'll do is it'll bypass the camera raw dialog, and it's going to open up that photo right into Photoshop for you. As you can see here, it might take a moment, but it will indeed open the photo right inside Photoshop. No camera raw dialog box.
And a moment is a relative term, isn't it?
And then I'm going to just jump back over to Bridge here and show you my second tip. And this is a really cool little tip here. If you're in Bridge, you want to change the thumbnail sizes, you can use the little slider at the bottom, or just press Control on the PC, Command on the Mac, and the plus and minus keys, and you can quickly view different size thumbnails right inside of Bridge. All right, so that's my tips. Let's get back to you, Scott.
All right, now we're going to go check out the latest Photoshop news and see what the buzz is on the street.
The buzz.
The buzz. All right, first I want to tell you about a set of plugins that just got an update. They're called the 55mm plugins. It's version 6.0 is their new update, and basically it's 68 filters that replicate the glass screw-on filters you normally use on your camera. There's all kinds of special effects filters and things. It's $195 for the whole set. There's a light version too, but you can go to their website and download a demo version and try it yourself at digitalfilmtools.com. Got one other piece of news for you real quick. Let me just tab over here. A website called Canvas On Demand. The Canvas On Demand website takes your Photoshop images and makes your images into canvas prints. You can they'll actually take your photo, stretch it around canvas, and put it on a canvas frame. Well, they print it on canvas and stretch it around a wood frame, and it starts for about $59 for an 8x10 and it goes on up. So go to canvasondemand.com to get your Photoshop images onto canvas. All right, Matt, over to you.
All right, thanks, Scott. My first piece of news here is Adobe has released an update to Bridge. It's 1.03. Here's the thing though. The first time they released the update, there was apparently a problem. Some people reported issues running camera raw after they installed the update. So they pulled it off the website. It's back now though, so you can re-download the update from Adobe's website. Here's the thing, if you downloaded it the first time, go download it again. If you didn't download it the first time, then you're safe. Just go download the update. You can only get it from Adobe's website though, and we'll post the links to it on the photoshoptv.com website. Now, my second piece of news here is a great little website, and it's going to keep you busy throughout the Thanksgiving Day weekend. Essentially, it's a website. It's got a bunch of actions, a bunch of scripts on it, a bunch of different things that you can do over the weekend here. It's called thelightsrightstudio.com. It's actually run by a NAP member, Glenn Mitchell. He's got a lot of great stuff. It's mostly for digital photography, but a lot of good actions and sharpening scripts. Some great information on there, so we'll post that link on the photoshoptv.com website too. So that's all for the news. Back to you, Scott.
All right, now I got some tips. My first tip is just for kind of everybody. It's a CS2 tip for Vanishing Point. It's a navigation tip. My second tip is just for Photoshop beginners. So if you're a beginner, stick around for the second tip. All right, first tip, Vanishing Point navigation. All right, so my Vanishing Point navigation tip is this. Go into the filter menu and choose Vanishing Point. Okay, that's not the tip. Here comes the tip.
Great tips.
Yeah, thanks. Let's say that you're drawing, like you're getting ready to draw your perspective grid, and you see how you got these little points here. Well, if you want to see if you're really lining up on a particular area to make sure you're getting right there, I have a one-button keyboard shortcut that will zoom you in right on that spot. Just press the letter X. Stunning, and it zooms in right in that
cool
spot.
Tip, though.
Hey, it's pretty helpful
I don't
if
know
you're
where
trying
you find
to
that. I mean,
it's like hidden shortcut kind of thing. Okay, so that's our first tip. Now for our beginner's tip. Let's cancel out of that. Let me close this, and now we'll do our beginner's tip. Our beginner's tip features a picture of, that's right, Matt
that's my favorite guy.
It is taken last week when he was at Photoshop World Japan. I shot this outside a temple where Matt was praying. And he was praying for actually the new version of this camera. Ooh, gotcha. Okay, anyway. This tip is basically 3 beginner's tips for using filters, like the way I said that, for using filters. First beginner's tip, number 1, let's go apply filter. And that's not the tip yet, okay. So here we go. Let's actually hit the unsharp mask filter. Okay, here's the tip. Number 1, if you apply a filter to an image, okay, once you've applied that filter, if you want to apply the same filter again using the exact same settings, it conveniently appears right at the top of the filter menu. So the last filter that you've run appears up there, and you can use the keyboard shortcut Command F on Mac or Control F on PC. Now let's undo that. What do you say if you want to apply the same filter but you want to change the settings? Well, there's a shortcut for that too. This time you would press Option Command F on Mac or Alt Control F on PC. It brings up the same dialog box of the filter you last used, but now you can put in, and it's got the last settings you used, so now you can change them if you want. And my third and final tip is this for beginners. See a little, I try to say as many times as possible. See the little picture of Matt?
The preview.
The preview of Matt, thank you. If you want to see a before and after of your filter, just click and hold and watch. There's the before, and there's the after. Before and after. Just click and let go. So there it is, 3 quick filter tips for beginners. And I think we need to have another tip from Matt to wrap things up on this holiday Thanksgiving edition of Photoshop TV.
All right, thanks, Scott. My next tip here is actually taken from a new book by Jack Davis and Ben Wilmore. It's called How to Wow Photoshop for Photography, and it's the 2nd edition of the book. Now, essentially what they do here is they've got 2 different exposures of the same photo. They want to merge these together, and there's a few different ways to do it, but Jack Davis and Ben Wilmore actually have a really cool way here. I'm going to take the dark version of the photo, use the Move tool, and just drag this over onto the light version. And what I'm going to do is hold down the Shift key, and that'll make sure that it places it in the same exact spot. Then I'm going to double click on this top layer here. It's going to open up my layer style dialog box. It's very large, but all we want to do is get to these blend if sliders. I'm going to take the black top slider here. I'm going to start moving it over to the right to around 200. Watch what that does. It starts to blend in some of those dark shadow areas, but only show me some of the highlights there. Now I'm going to hold down the Alt key, and I'm going to start moving the slider back over to the left just till it's almost all the way to the left, and look what that does. It starts to bring back some of the highlight areas so they're not all blown out. So I'm going to click on OK and check it out. This is before and this is after, so it's a much nicer photo. Got our shadows and highlights all blended very nicely. All right, perfect. That's it for me. Back to you, Scott.
Great tip for when you're shooting multiple exposures or bracketing on your camera.
Yes, definitely.
Very, very sweet. And here is the book that Matt was talking about, How to Wow Photoshop for Photographers. The 2nd edition, brand new. Buy this wherever fine Photoshop books are sold. Okay, let me just slide this over. Watch. All right, well, that's it
That
for
was
this.
nice. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for watching this holiday abridged short edition of Photoshop TV. Next week, we'll be back with the full giant extravaganza, the 30-minute huge thing. But everybody, have a great holiday. Spend some quality time with your family. And thanks for watching this little tiny version of Photoshop TV. For myself and Matt Kloskowski,
Happy holiday.
we'll see you guys next week on Photoshop TV.